In this term, you will start to think about and work on the edTPA. edTPA is an acronym for Education Teacher Performance Assessment and is a recently developed assessment used by some states, including Oregon, to evaluate the readiness of pre-service teachers. In year 2, you'll be required to complete the edTPA, submit your work for external review, and receive a passing score. That passing score has yet to be established by the state. This is a pretty high-stakes effort, and to prepare you for success, we will spend some time this year working on the different tasks as part of our coursework. As the title indicates, edTPA is a performance-based assessment. The meaning of performance-based assessment is pretty straightforward. In the edTPA, you'll be judged on how you perform the duties of a beginning teacher, with some emphasis on how you connect your knowledge of research and theory, which you're learning in your coursework, to your choice of instruction and your interactions with students. In general, the edTPA will examine how you perform on planning lessons, working with students, and assessing student learning. As shown in the next slide, for elementary teachers, the focus will be on literacy and math instruction. This slide shows the table of contents for the Elementary Education Assessment Handbook. There are 4 tasks that need to be completed, 3 related to literacy and 1 related to math. We'll work on the math assessment this term. Note that there is a clear pattern to the process for each task. First, you'll be guided in the direction of items you need to consider as you choose the lessons you teach and how you will assess student learning. This occurs around the questions of what you need to think about and do. This section also requires you to videotape your teaching and analyze student actions within the videotape. After planning and instruction, you are provided specific prompts that ask you to analyze and answer questions about the impact of your teaching, and then propose ways that you might change your teaching in the future to advance student understanding. edTPA also provides clear directions on how you'll be evaluated, including the rubrics that you'll be used by reviewers. In summary, for literacy tasks, which we'll work on in the spring, you should plan on developing lessons, teaching the lessons, and evaluating the impact of the lessons through answering specific prompts. We will focus on the math assessment this term, which will, in part, be incorporated into your math methods and practicum class. The math assessment follows the same prompts as the 3 tasks for literacy. However, you are not required to videotape your lessons, although you may submit audio or video as part of your evidence. Instead, in Task 4, you are asked to conduct a formative assessment, analyze data from the formative assessment, and then teach a re-engagement lesson that is guided by your analysis. Obviously, a key component of this process is formative assessment. Formative assessment is defined as both formal and informal diagnostic activities that teachers engage in during the learning process to modify teaching and learning activities. The opposite of formative assessment is summative assessment. For example, a test is a summative assessment. Using this cycle of formative assessment is consistent with research that shows the importance of having prior knowledge of students' understanding and skills and adjusting teaching strategies during instruction. This flow chart shows the different components of Task 4. First, you will describe the classroom setting and what you will be teaching. This is called setting the context. Your work with this section includes completing 2 specific templates. The second step involves developing or modifying a formative assessment and using this assessment to learn about what students know about a math concept or a procedure or problem-solving skill already. Re-engagement informed by the formative assessment is the third step. And finally, you'll be asked to answer specific prompts related to this process in the math assessment commentary. A couple of important points to remember as we venture down the edTPA path. This is a new process with new terminology and requirements to analyze your teaching. So it'll take time to learn this terminology and adjust to the process of using formative assessment. edTPA is a strongly research-based process and a model for good teaching. You will learn concepts and strategies that will improve your practice. Number 3, you'll work through edTPA twice, during the winter and spring term of year 1, and then in year 2 when you'll complete and submit the portfolio. For both versions, you'll be mentored by OSU and Beaverton faculty. During year 1, we will be able to provide direct and specific advice on your work. During year 2, faculty can still provide support, but it must be more general in order to maintain the integrity of the process. We have all the confidence in the world that you'll be successful in completing the edTPA, and this will allow you to get a license and take a direct step towards becoming a great teacher.